Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today session we are going to see that how we can fix the null pointer exception. Basically this is a very common exception that will occur during the program execution and mainly in the day-to-day activity when you are working in any kind of enterprise project or web project. Then sometimes you will get the null pointer exception. So we need to check how we can carefully handle this null pointer exception and what are the various ways that came into the picture after Java 8 came into the market. And before the Java 8 we were not having that kind of options so that we can handle this kind of exception very in a proper manner, right? So So now we are going to see that how we can fix this kind of exception which we are getting in our day-to-day activity, right, in the project. Sometimes you are executing a program and the object what we are using in the program, either in the class for a caller of the method, right? You are going to call some method by using some object and the object is not exist inside the memory. Then on that situation definitely you will get a null pointer exception. So basically in any kind of project you need to handle the null pointer exception very carefully, otherwise it will create a problem and the execution will not move, the control will not move to the next step. It will just stop and come out from the particular line where the null pointer exception came into the picture, right? So the first thing is that when the null pointer exception will occur, assume that you are going to work on some project and you are going to use some method. You are going to call a method which is going to pull the data from the database and it is going to provide the information about the employee, right? You are going to look the employee information by using the employee ID. It is going to hit the database by using that particular ID. It will find that information and return back information into the employee object, right? Assume that this employee ID itself not available inside the database that you are going to look, right? And then on that situation definitely it will return the null value. When the null value will come, then you have to return the null value to another layer. So in this situation somehow at some place you will get the null pointer exception, right? So the summary of this whole thing is that when you are going to use an object which is not available inside the memory and you are going to call the method with that object, then definitely you will get a null pointer exception. So let us take some example through the program and we need to understand how the null pointer exception will come and how we are going to handle this thing very carefully. So let me just create one class here, that is the test class, test01. Okay, now under this class I will write main method. Okay, under this main method I will just declare one variable, string type variable, string name equal to null, right? And I will just try to call a method on this particular variable. So what I will do is SOUT system.out.println name inside main method and then it has to just call on this variable name dot length, right? We have the length method on the string, so we can call this method. Let us see what this program is going to print the output. Let me run this particular. Okay, sorry, this is the main I selected. I need to just select the current file and click on execution. You can see that there is an exception that is coming here, that is known as null pointer exception. So after running this particular program, you can see that there is an exception that is coming here, that is known as null pointer exception. So this null pointer exception is coming at line number 6. It is reporting at line number 6. I will click at line number 6. It has to just highlight the line number 6 over here. That means what it is trying to say, I am facing the issue from this particular line. Is there any possibility that it is going to execute after this line? There is some code. I will write SOUT because it got the exception. So it is not going to print any line after this. Print me after null pointer exception. Let us see. I will recompile, I will rerun this program and I will check that it is going to print this thing or not. See, it is not going to print because the control is coming out from line number 6 and it is not going to execute line number 7 afterwards. So this is the basic problem. If you are not handling this particular exception very carefully, then the next line of code will be completely blocked and it will not be executed, right? And the code execution flow will be stopped. So in this scenario, we need to handle this particular exception in a proper manner. So what I can do so that our work should not stop. So what if there is a possibility that null pointer exception should come, then on that situation we have to check the object. If name is not equal to null, right, then let us just format this. Name is not equal to null, then I will use this SOUT. Name is not null here, right, and else we have to provide name is null here, please provide the name. Right? So in this scenario, this code will be executed, else block code will be executed, and after that what is the code is available, that is also executed. Previous scenario, what was happening, that from line number 6, right, it is going to it will come out from the control flow. Now let me just execute this particular program. See, name is null here, please provide the name, and after that it is going to execute remaining line of code, print me after null pointer exception. So this is the way through which you can handle the null pointer exception very carefully. Now let me take another example, that is the second example, which is containing one object. I will take an employee object, employee class. So this employee class will have private int employee id, private string employee emp name. Let me just check emp name, employee name. Okay, now we have to provide the constructor for this, so let me just generate the constructor here. So generate constructor, both the things I am looking for. The constructor is generated. Okay, now we have to provide a getter method for this, so let me provide the getter method. Generate getter this record style. Okay, cool. Control this. I will just format this class. Okay, now Control A, Control Alt L. Now it is formatted. Now my class is ready for the employee, right? Now what I have to do here, I will just check this so I will just check that how here we can get the null pointer exception, right? I am just going to write one test class here, that is employee. Okay, test class. Okay, so this is simple employee test class which will have the main method. It is not a JUnit test, PS main method. Under this employee test class, I am going to create an employee class object. Employee emp employee is equal to new employee, right? Okay, so here we have to provide employee ID. So employee ID is 101, comma, and employee name is Kumar, right? In spite of this, if I am providing the employee ID, Avatati null. In spite of this, if I am providing the employee ID, what you need to do, basically if I am providing simply employee is equal to null, then if I will just try to access here employee dot employee name, right? Let us see what is going to happen, because you already specified this employee object as a null and you are trying to call this particular method on this particular null reference. Definitely it will give the null pointer exception here, and it is coming at line number 6. As previous program, I can just check that it is going to print line number 7 or not after this particular exception came into the picture. So if I will write one statement, print me, definitely it will not print because the control is coming from out from line number 6. Let me just rerun the program. It is not going to print anything. So what we need to do, we need to handle this particular exception carefully, as we have seen that previously how we handled. So we need to just provide here, if employee is not equal to null, then what we need to do, we need to get the employee, else employee right. So in this situation, if you will just run this program, you will find that the line number 12 will also print. See, employee is null, print me. This is also printing. So this way you can carefully handle this particular exception, employee null pointer exception, and you can continue your program, right? So basically the way how we can handle the null pointer exception is very easy, but you need to be very careful when you are writing a program or when you are writing the code. Definitely somewhere you are using the object. The null handling technique should be very proper, so that it should not break any kind of code, and the control flow should not exit from the particular place, because other lines of code should be executed inside your class. If the control will come out from the previous, right, we have seen that line number 6 the control was coming out, and it is not going to execute any other line after that. So we need to handle this exception carefully so that it should not create any problem for other lines of code. So this is all about the null pointer exception. In the next session we are going to see that how we can handle the exception by using optional class which is available in Java 8 library. If you are finding that this session is helpful for